Scott, we all knew this was coming, but Bethesda reaffirms it's developing Elder Scrolls 6 now. Grant Taylor Hill over at Insider Gaming, in a post on social media published to celebrate the 30th anniversary of the Elder Scrolls, Bethesda Game Studios gave the briefest update imaginable on the Elder Scrolls 6, the next iteration of the legendary series. In August, it was confirmed that TES 6 had left pre-production and that it was reiterated today by Bethesda Game Studios with the firm stressing, quote, "We are in development on the next chapter, The Elder Scrolls 6. Something is better than nothing." Well, I don't know about that. The Elder Scrolls The Elder Scrolls is 30 years old, a staggering milestone for any franchise, especially one that is still incredibly popular. Dude, so many people play Skyrim still to this day. It is nuts.
That's insane to me, yeah, because it's well over a decade now. I have memories that I've forgotten and then re-remembered.
Yeah, like I have friends that play that game every year just to go back in. I was like, "You playing it again?" Yeah.
Yeah,
like, no.
I knew some friends on PC that would run it with crazy weird mods back in the day, so I've seen it all.
Fair enough. In a post on Twitter, Bethesda Game Studios talked about the origins of the franchise and where things are today, such as the recent release of Tez Castles and the latest iteration of Creations in Skyrim, which is still being supported by BGS more than a decade after release. It was then referenced, quote, "Last but not least, yes, we are in development on the next chapter, The Elder Scrolls 6. End quote. There was a look forward to the next 30 years of the franchise, which shows that Bethesda Game Studios is optimistic about the future of The Elder Scrolls. It's the next major game from the series, and after The Elder Scrolls 6 has hit the market, Bethesda Game Studios will pivot to focus on Fallout 5. Scott, any big surprise out of any of this?
No, not particularly. Other than hearing that it's come out of pre-production, I've seen some of the reception of this is that they're playing the game, and I don't think we're anywhere near that stage. Remember that GTA leak that everything was in alpha? I have a feeling it. Yeah, I have a feeling that doesn't even begin to describe how early this game is yet.
Yeah, no, they've just gone past the concept sketch and started building some stuff, right? Like they're nowhere. Dude, we're still 6 years out. Easy. 6 years out from seeing anything on this. They're still working on the Starfield DLC that's coming out. We'll see when we get that one. But after that, yeah, this is full hands-on right now for the next Elder Scrolls, right? And when this drops, dude, will this bring them to that Game of the Year discussion?
Oh, it has to. If anybody has a guaranteed seat in that discussion, almost guaranteed. You can nothing's ever perfect, but
no,
Bethesda definitely deserves to be there based on their prior work. So I think we could get something really solid. But I'm wondering if this is going to use that same engine that nobody seems to be happy with anymore. After Starfield, I don't think we'll be talking about Starfield in 30 years on in the same way we are Elder Scrolls. And I think 30 years is an interesting marker because I'm pretty sure that's about how old their game engine is.
How much?
At least 20.
How much do they change up the formula, Scott? Right now, in the world of storytelling, it's shifted. And when Starfield came out, it felt like a Bethesda game. And in some respect, right, there's nothing wrong with that. But in others, there's more modern ways to tell a story. But Bethesda didn't do that. Bethesda still fell into the old, okay, everybody stop what you're doing. Here's the headshot. Now have a discussion. And that's like, can we please not do that with this? Like, can we please stop that to some extent? Do something else. Refresh. Bring something hot, something new, something more exciting. Dude, the minute that popped up, and I was like, oh, they're still doing this. They're still just
the talking heads.
It's just like, we're so past this, right? Dude, some of the best storytelling we've seen, The Last of Us 2, Final Fantasy 16, there is nothing like that. Like, nothing is there. If they didn't have that, mind you, there's a bunch of other things that they could have done as well for Starfield. Starfield should have been, technically, dude, that game should have been in Game of the Year discussion last year, and it wasn't. It just wasn't even there. And that's a huge problem. Moving forward, they need to learn from those lessons to tell a much better and a much richer story here. You can give us 1,000 planets, but nobody cares when they're all empty, right? Like,
No.
So what do they do Skyrim 6 or Elder Scrolls, sorry, Skyrim 2? Did they call it Skyrim 2, do you think? Or are we just going into Elder Scrolls 6? What are we doing?
Absolutely not. There will not be a Skyrim 2. It's that doesn't work like that. Each of them are named after a different province, and it'll be very unlikely we go to Skyrim twice. It was already weird enough that Morrowind came up in the form of DLC for Skyrim,
right?
Because that's, again, we're drifting to a whole other continent.
Yeah.
Just the way it works. But Elder Scrolls sits on a huge amount of lore and back lore and a lot of storytelling capability. So I agree with you. I think the conversational kind of dialogue base is a little bit outdated, but I think we're going to see that plus a lot of cinematic. Think of the cinematics that you've seen for Elder Scrolls Online. Some of the most intense, almost to the point where it's disappointing to learn the game does not play like that.
that's the biggest part for me, is that you watch the cinematic and you're like blown away, and then you get into the game with, ooh, what is this?
Oh.
Like, it's complete opposites, dude. It was like going back to PS2 days when we had Killzone. We had Killzone 2 trailer, and then we jump into the world of Killzone, and like that's how I feel that Elder Scrolls Online is showcased, right? It's in that same vein of, here's a blow your socks off trailer, and now you jump into the game, you're like, whoa. I feel like I'm on PS3, Xbox 360 era still, right? And it's just, oh man, I'm not into that, so I don't want to do that. I have high hopes to see if, because I've still yet to play Skyrim. I've never played Skyrim, never played Oblivion.
You're gonna wait till it gets 20 years old.
Dude, I'm just not gonna play it. Straight up, I do not have time to play that. That is not happening. But when they drop the next Elder Scrolls 6, maybe this is the time where I do jump in. Dude, I'm not a Fallout guy either. I played 4, didn't like it. Not for me. I'm like, okay, cool. Starfield's here. Let's give that a shot. Dropped 80 hours in the first, 3 weeks, 2 weeks, whatever it was. And then I never went back. Like, I had a good time with Starfield. I had higher hopes than where I wanted to be, and I was wowed at moments, but then I was underwhelmed by those storytelling beats of, there's the headshot. So I'm hoping they do learn from that experience and take the feedback to heart that everybody's like, yo, you can't do this anymore. Like, we play some of the most deep, heart grunting, like, just gets you right in the gut kind of feels, and Starfield just doesn't do that, right? You gotta tell a story, man. Tell a story.
No, in the case of, I feel Final Fantasy 16 vibes off of that. Just the bigger set pieces, the great storytelling, the kind of, that's something that Square Enix does incredibly well.
Yeah.
But I think we're talking, in this Elder Scrolls 6, we're talking about a whole different console generation. And the ability to kind of scale things up to larger than life kind of moments. I think we're going to see some of those ginormous battles like we've seen in Final Fantasy 16 when they go to beast mode and everybody's fighting as giant.
yeah.
I love that, but I think there's a potential for that to happen in this Elder Scrolls and to make that big blockbuster moment. So maybe those trailers, those Michael Bay trailers, can actually be delivered on.
I think they can, right? They can create those Final Fantasy boss fights, those Shadow of the Colossus moments, right? The Elden Ring moments that everybody talks about that are just, wow, did you play that part? Did you see this? They need to bring that here. Hands down.